Welcome to today's Explainer. We're taking the rapid-fire updates from the June 26th Daily Tech Reader Briefing, and, well, we're connecting the dots. We're going to look at exactly how technology, global markets, and geopolitics are constantly colliding and impacting each other. Instead of just skimming the headlines today, we're going to dive right into the structural forces driving our world using data straight from the source.
To make sense of all these complex updates, we'll be exploring 5 key themes today: global diplomacy and climate, the AI infrastructure boom, markets, rates, and ROI, science, space, and health, and finally, culture and the future.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Global Diplomacy and Climate, taking a look at updates on the global stage.
There is a really fascinating contrast playing out in real time right now. On one hand, you've got the diplomatic path. The White House keeps reiterating that diplomacy is their preferred way forward as U.S.-Iran negotiations continue, with Qatar actually stepping in as a key intermediary. But then, look at the market reality. The markets are impartially observing these talks, and the immediate on-the-ground result is that shipping in the vitally important Strait of Hormuz is actually stabilizing. Because those supply concerns are easing up, global oil prices are staying near recent lows. It's a perfect example of how high-level diplomatic talks translate directly into everyday economic stability.
But alongside those diplomatic efforts, governments globally are juggling a whole slew of intense macro challenges. Mother Nature is definitely forcing the issue right now. We've got an ongoing European heat wave actively disrupting transportation and infrastructure, while at the same time, severe weather is just pounding the eastern U.S. ahead of the weekend. And because of these compounding factors, humanitarian agencies are sounding the alarm on worsening global food insecurity. Throw in some highly dynamic security conditions, like the long-range drone exchanges between Ukraine and Russia that are keeping NATO on high alert, and it makes total sense why U.S. lawmakers are so intensely debating defense and fiscal policies right now.
So, with all of that geopolitical and environmental movement as our backdrop, we've got to ask a defining question. Amidst all this complexity, what is the primary catalyst that's driving this massive, unyielding investment in the technology sector today? Which brings us to Section 2. The AI infrastructure boom. Definitely the defining tech trend of our time. The crucial thing to remember here is that at the end of the day, software needs a physical home. Major cloud providers, we often call them hyperscalers, are accelerating global data center construction at a pace that is just staggering. This hyperscaler expansion means companies are pouring vast amounts of capital into AI-ready infrastructure. And to actually power those data centers, there is this unprecedented sustained demand for AI hardware, which in turn is heavily driving continuous semiconductor investment in innovation. It's a massive cycle. Now, building on top of that physical infrastructure, let's look at the software layer. We are way past simple chatbots here. First, enterprise software vendors are aggressively deepening their AI integration. Second, active AI agents are moving much deeper into actual enterprise production workflows. They're doing the heavy lifting now. And third, because this tech is becoming so deeply embedded, enterprise customers are demanding predictable, usage-based pricing. Businesses are rigorously prioritizing measurable return on investment. They want to see exactly how this technology is boosting the bottom line. But here is where the story loops right back to the physical world. All of these shiny new AI data centers require massive amounts of electricity. I mean, we're talking about power draws that sometimes rival entire cities. This incredible demand is sparking a huge ripple effect. Utilities are scrambling to prep for long-term power growth. And interestingly enough, nuclear energy is suddenly getting renewed policy attention as a clean baseline solution. We're also seeing grid modernization, new transmission projects, and significant growth in battery storage and renewable energy deployments, all accelerating just to feed this massive tech boom. Let's shift gears to Section 3, Markets, Rates, and ROI, to see financial market trends. The market right now is reacting to some incredibly conflicting signals. On the equity side, investors are super confident in the tech sector, actively rewarding profitable AI companies and strong industrial stocks. But economic reports and persistent inflation data mean Treasury yields are remaining elevated. So, to hedge against these macro shifts, alternative assets are responding. Bitcoin is trading near recent highs, and gold is actively reflecting a lot of global caution. It's a real balancing act between pure tech optimism and macro reality. And why does this matter to the everyday consumer? Well, this cautious inflation data keeps the Federal Reserve hesitant, which keeps interest rate expectations in sharp focus. When rates stay elevated, the immediate downstream effect is that housing affordability remains a stubborn, nationwide challenge. It is a direct, undeniable line from macro policy straight to your local real estate market. Zooming out a bit, let's head to Section 4, Science, Space, and Health, where tech is supercharging science. Up in the cosmos, commercial and public exploration are advancing in total lockstep. SpaceX's financing continues to dominate the commercial launch narrative, while NASA is quietly and steadily prepping its Artemis missions and long-term Mars plans. Back closer to home, tech is fueling some incredible discoveries. Astronomy research is actively identifying new exoplanets, and massive capital is flowing into fusion energy startups. Meanwhile, climate monitoring programs, like the Amazon satellite initiatives, are growing rapidly to help us understand our own planet better.
Down here on Earth, the convergence of biotechnology and AI computing is literally saving lives. AI is now actively shortening the traditionally grueling drug discovery process. Precision medicine and genomics research are advancing treatments at a breakneck pace, and cancer research is reporting continued progress. Beyond the lab, digital health is just booming. We're seeing remote patient monitoring and AI-assisted diagnostics expanding across entire healthcare systems. Naturally, with this massive digital shift, hospitals are heavily focused on evolving medical AI regulations and beefing up their cybersecurity protections. And speaking of milestones, amidst all this futuristic, cutting-edge tech, the U.S. is also looking backward. Preparations are steadily continuing nationwide for America's 250th anniversary celebrations. It's a really fascinating juxtaposition, right? Deep historical roots right alongside rapid future advancement.
Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 5, Culture and the Future, looking at the impacts on our daily lives. We are living a fascinating split-screen reality when it comes to entertainment right now. On the traditional side, massive cultural touchstones are standing strong. The World Cup absolutely dominates global sports, live entertainment is robust, and the summer movie season is still drawing steady crowds. But simultaneously, this new digital wave is crashing in. The creator economy and podcast audiences are expanding like wildfire. Behind the scenes, the music industry is scrambling to adapt to AI-generated content, while Hollywood is actively evaluating entirely new AI production workflows. The whole shebang is changing.
In the workplace, the shift is just as profound. AI is fundamentally reshaping knowledge work, pushing employers to prioritize AI-assisted productivity and skills-based hiring. Developers are increasingly relying on AI coding assistants just to do their jobs. And because of this rapid digital transformation, cybersecurity talent shortages unfortunately still persist. To adapt, hybrid work patterns are finally stabilizing across industries, and corporate upskilling has evolved into a top strategic priority for businesses literally everywhere.
I want to wrap up today's explainer with a thought straight from today's most active debates. As we've seen, technology isn't just some isolated sector anymore. It's the underlying infrastructure for our energy, our healthcare, and our culture. So as AI actively reshapes the very nature of knowledge work, Hollywood production, and the creator economy, how will humanity's role in creative work ultimately adapt? And maybe more importantly for you, how will you adapt your own skills for this rapidly approaching future? Thank you so much for learning with us today. Keep looking closely at the data, and we'll see you next time.